You have arrived at Laughbox, the podcast for the Association of Applied and Therapeutic Humor. We are so excited you're here.
I agree with you like 110%. Humor does make a difference. Laughter does make a difference.
The Laughbox podcast, we're putting the focus on people who are using the principles of therapeutic humor to make life better for other people. And it sounds like you make life better for other people all the time.
I try my best.
Join us for episode 127 with Jim Bob Williams, Katie B, and special guest Stefano Iaboni. Yay!
Welcome to Laughbox, the official podcast of the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor. I'm Jim Bob Williams.
And I'm Katie B.
And today, our special guest is Stefano Iaboni, who's an experiential facilitator, now currently in Portland, Oregon, but who came there by a very circuitous route. Tell us about your first couple of jobs in your career, and how did you come across, how did you learn that humor makes and laughter make a difference?
Yay. Hi, folks. Hi, Jim. Hi, Katie. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited about this. That's a very good question. How do you end up here, right? Because it's usually the other way around. I'm from Italy, and it's usually Americans that move to Italy, right? And I guess I like to do things differently, right? So I end up in the United States because of my wife. We used to live in Barcelona, Spain. We were there for over 10 years. And then, my wife she's from the Bay Area, but she's studying in Ashland. So we have a lot of friends, a big community of friends here in Portland, Oregon. So when around 2012, 2013, we wanted to change a little bit and we were looking for something else. And we're like, oh, maybe we should go to the States for a little bit and see how we feel. And at first was like, oh, let's go for 1 year. And we've been 10 years now. So I guess we do like it.
Wow.
I can relate. I moved to West Virginia in 1979 for what I thought was a 1-year assignment.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm Italian the hard way. I married one, but that's another story.
I'm Spanish by adoption from people in Barcelona.
Oh, there you go. There's the connection.
Yeah.
I started my career as I wanted to be a circus artist, a circus performer. In the late 90s, I was traveling through Central America and I met a guy from Austria that was a juggler and I got really into it. So when I went back to Italy, I found somebody that was teaching a workshop. So I took this workshop and then I just like, oh, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to go. I want to be into circus and such. So I look for schools around the world and basically, I don't know how, but I end up in a school in the Netherlands. And I was there for only 1 year because the school was actually 3 years, but I was there because I guess the weather, the school was small, and I just, I don't know if this is right for me. I bought a car with another friend and my girlfriend at that time, and we decided to go to Barcelona, Spain, because my friend did some research about other schools in Europe, and Barcelona came up, and I was like, oh, sounds fun. It's sunny, it's nice. I speak Spanish. It's very similar to my own language. Why not? So we went there and look, and I basically ended up staying there for 10 years. But while I was doing circus, I used to go to this school and train. I never actually got into the school. I never did the whole whatever school.
Can I ask you, was it Rogelio Rivel?
Yes.
That's where I went to school.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh, wow.
I did 2.5 years, but I was old, so I couldn't do the certificate program.
Oh, that's funny. Oh,
that
look
is
at
funny. Yeah.
Maybe we met in Barcelona earlier.
I left in 2003, 2004.
Oh, no, that's when I got there. That's when I got there.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry to interrupt, but I had to share.
Yes, this is really cool. So while I was doing the school, I met other performers. I started street performing, and then I got introduced. I went to a festival in Italy, and I met this guy, this Argentinian teacher that does a lot of clowning and a lot of improv. And I knew the guy from Barcelona, but we never met. I knew the guy lived there.
Loco Brusco?
Yes. Of course. Yes. That is so funny.
Okay,
So
keep going.
One of the guy that changed everything for me. So I met him at this festival in Italy. We connected, and he's like, when you come back to Barcelona, I'm starting this class. Why don't you join me? And that's when things changed for me. And I started doing more improv and more clowning. And it was very fun. And it was what I what click was for me was like the circus. A lot of the circus relies on skills, and a lot of, so for me it was like acrobatic, it was juggling, so very skillful, very difficult stuff, right? But when I was performing, the most fun part for me was, especially when I was street performing, was like gathering a crowd, because I would play a lot of games, I would do silly stuff and trying to gather to get people attention, and that was the most fun part of the show for me. And then it was like, okay, I got a crowd, okay, I can start my routines. The show was great, people liked it. Yes, I was making money, people were happy, but for me, I was lacking that moment, that connection, right? That then I'm like, I'm juggling, I'm here, I'm not making eye contact. So I can't see the reaction. I know, yeah, I get the applause at the end. Sure, great. But there was something else that I discovered during the improv that was really like, oh, this is so much fun. This element of play, element of, oh, I can be silly. Again, I don't have to rely on skills, not necessarily. I can just pretend to be a juggler, but I don't have to juggle. And then I also came to an understanding of, if you're not a juggler, or if you're not a performer, if you're not a musician, if you're not a magician, if you're just a normal, let's say, human being, you don't get to understand like how difficult that is, right? So sometimes I feel like I would go to this juggler convention and I would see people doing crazy stuff, 7 balls, 10 balls, whatever that is, crazy juggling, unicycle, on fire, whatever. But the normal people don't get it. They're like, whatever, man. You could be doing 3 or 7. It doesn't matter to me because I don't know how difficult that is. So I can't really relate. I can't really connect. Yes, I can visually it looks interesting, but I don't get it. So to me, it was funny to like a lot of circus performers were like into their heads of, oh, I'm so cool, and there is a lot of ego. But ultimately, people don't care if you're like, what they want is connection, right, and entertainment, right. So that was my first experience, was through Loco Brusca. And then while I was doing this workshop, it was more like a long, it was like we were gathering like twice a week and like for months. And then we would have a variety show every month, which was great opportunity to try the things that we were working on. In the workshop, I met one of my best friends to nowadays, Claudio, another guy from Italy, and together we created a show. And Claudio introducing me to another person that changed my life. And his name was, he just recently passed away last summer, Jango Edwards. This guy was a clown from the United States, funny enough, that lived many years in the Netherlands and then relocated to Barcelona, Spain.
I know
Um,
Jango.
Look at that. Yeah, of course. When I got to meet Django at his birthday, and the thing was, he was like, if you come into my birthday, his birthday was in a small theater in Barcelona, and he was like, if you come into my show, you need to go you through the stage first. That is, and then if you do something that I like, he obviously liked everybody. He liked that idea of, oh, you gotta pass this test. If you make me laugh, whatever, then you can join my party. So we did a skit that then developed, that then turned into a show. That skit that I had with my friend Cloud, and then Django really changed, introduced me. We got deeper into the clowning stuff, right? And with Django, I work a ton with Django, doing workshops together, touring together. And also with Django, he would host like a weekly variety show. There was also like a great opportunity to like, oh, do develop material and try things in front of an audience. But what I'm doing lately, because of 20 years of comedy, that's what got me more into what I'm doing now, which is there's experiential training, the team building, and the workshops through laughter. Because of all these experiences, and I've witnessing how laughter can help folks connect, break barriers, and just create like a nice, I don't know, energy, a nice vibes, and it helps with, yeah, creativity in general. That's because of all this experience in comedy. That's how I got into this. And also I had, because of hard times. In 2015, I had cancer between 2015 and 2016. And while I was doing the treatment, the chemo, things were very hard. Two major things happened. I met my naturopath doctor that was also into the laughter has healing for patients. So we did offer a laughter session for cancer patients during my treatment. And at the same time, I was producing a show here in Portland, and I wanted to continue with the show, My chemo treatment was like 3 months of like intense, yeah, an intense session, right? I would go in for a week every day, and then the following week only one day. I was very tired. I was very feeling very down and depressed, and no hair, which is terrible for an Italian guy. And yeah, and but I wanted to continue with the show. I was very worried. And oh, am I going to be able to be on stage? Am I going to be able to make people laugh? Will I last for the whole 1.5 hour of the show? But something incredible to me happened while I was performing. I the next day I laugh and made people laugh and got a lot of great energy out of it. And then I would feel great afterwards for days. I feel like, oh, I'm full of energy. I feel, oh my gosh, what is happening? This is crazy. So that's when I started like investigating more. Oh, the power of laughter. What happened when you laugh, right? So all the neurological things that happen, physiological things that happen when you laugh. And I realized, oh, this is why I'm feeling so good. So now I'm basically, yeah, helping different folks in different fields with connecting and boosting creativity and just overall well-being through laughter.
Fantastic.
Wowzers. What a journey. Amazing.
If I share some information with you, any sort of information, and I have a little bit in humor with it, you're probably going to remember it.
Yeah.
If I share numbers, presentation, I don't know, Google Slides and blah 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 blah. Yes, you might remember it, but maybe not as much. And I believe you might lose interest after a little bit. If I'm doing a presentation, if I'm talking, and if I'm giving you a lot of facts, I'm giving you a lot of statistics, which are important, but there is no humor and everything is flat. Yeah, I'm not sure you will remember it. If I make you laugh, you will have a moment of ha ha, and then you will go home and you will have a moment of aha, right? Because you will remember it, because there was something that did click that you might not even be aware while you're listening at that moment. You might not even be aware of it, but then later, oh, that thing stays. I feel like what I so that I do many different things, and we're going to talk about it. But
Good.
one of the things that I do is also this. I'm a performer. I do comedy, and I've been doing this for a very long time. But yeah, what I do, it's physical, it's visual, and I feel like it's I don't talk much during my performance. I like try to keep the verbal to the minimum, because I also think like this is more it's something, it's more worldwide, right? It's something you can do anywhere, right? Because it's people can relate, people that can laugh without the need of a language, right? And that's what brought me, because I was lucky enough to travel around the world with my show and with a duo that I used to have in the past. So I travel and did shows in places where maybe laughter or humor was seen in a different, they had a different interpretation. So I was like in Kuwait and I was in Dubai, and it was really interesting to me to see. I remember seeing a sign on the street saying, please do not display public affection. Let's say I see you on the street, Jim,
Yeah.
and I'm like, hey Jim, how's it going? I give you a
Yeah.
hug.
Yeah.
People might feel, that's not okay. Katie, I see you. Hey, Katie, how are you? I hold your hand or kiss on the cheeks. This is what we do in Italy. It's not, and people wouldn't like that. So doing the show, it was very interesting to perform a comedy show there and look at the crowd. And the main thing that was very, for me, was super interesting was people were like, before laughing, they would check with each other. They would look at each other, right?
Mhm.
And see, oh, the other person is laughing, so I can laugh too.
Yeah.
So I can allow myself to laugh, right?
Mhm.
Very interesting. But there, we didn't speak the language, and still, we were doing, we were able to connect, right? That's another interesting thing that happens with laughter and humor. It's a universal thing, it's a social experience. We need, generally speaking, adults need other adults to laugh with, right? But yeah, laughter, it's incredible how you can connect with folks without even necessarily using the language, right? And that's the main thing between there is laughter and there is humor, right? Yes, they do go together, but they're not necessarily the same thing. Laughter, it's more cultural. Sorry, humor, it is more cultural. It's more subjective. Something that might be funny for me as an Italian person, maybe it's not funny for an American person, or the other way around. Or something is funny for me, but it's not funny for Jim. Or maybe something funny for Jim is not funny for me. But laughter is universal. Laughter is something that we all know how to do. We all, generally speaking, we all know how to laugh. And this is something that I always talk about. As humans, we first learn how to laugh before we learn how to speak. So it's the most direct communication that we can have between human beings. right? If I approach you with a smile, with a laugh, possibly you might realize, okay, this person is friendly, is not, I don't know, the vibes changes, right? As if I approach you with with a face like that, right? But in society, it's also very interesting because let's say the work culture, right? And it also depends where, but let's say like a corporate or I don't know, maybe there is um, misunderstanding or people feel like this is not a place for laughter. We are a serious business. We're making money here. We don't laughter. Nah, we don't laugh here. We're making money. Or if I show up at work with a long face and I'm upset and I'm angry, it's totally fine. It's totally accepted. If I show up at work like this, people think I'm crazy. What's the matter with Stefan? Why is it like that, right? I might even get in trouble in the world that we live in if I smile somebody else in the street. Oh, they might get some issue. Why are you laughing, man? What's so funny? You might get the kind of reaction, which is very interesting. Food for thoughts, right? Yeah.
Let me start with this. When you approach a corporate customer and you say, I'm going to give you a workshop that includes laughter, do you get pushback saying, wait a second, yeah, I want the better communication, and I want increased productivity, and I want increased creativity, but you're going to give that to us through laughter? What are you talking about?
You're absolutely right, Jim. Sometimes I do get that kind of response.
Yeah.
Because of that, what I was saying earlier, I think there is a misconcept that the corporate world and laughter or humor do not go together. They think, oh, we are serious business, we're making money. There is no room for that. My understanding is the corporate world really likes the study and the numbers behind it. Ultimately, it's going to help you make more money, basically, right?
Yep.
That's
What's in
ultimately
it
their
for me?
goal, right? It's like we do. Why do you think how come our laughter is going to help us? Let's make us more money. And the misconcept is this: if you create an environment where people are happier, where people are jollier, where there is the laughter is allowed, people feel great to go to work. They love their job. They are engaged, and studies should say is that when you laugh, and if you allow yourself to laugh, your brain, your right and left side of the brains connect, which is doesn't happen all the time. So that helps with creativity and also helps with. I like to talk about the turnover. People will stay. They're not gonna go somewhere else if the environment where they work it's nice and they feel great and there's laughter. They will likely stay longer. I say people that laugh together usually stay together, right? And they don't get sick because that's also another study. The laughter helps you with in that regard. That can boost your health and it makes you feel better. So you won't get sick days. You work, and generally speaking, yeah, it's really I have to convince them
Yeah.
that it's so beneficial because of that. Because it's really about changing the work culture here, and it's not it doesn't mean as oh what does it mean do I have to turn into a comedian, do I need to do stand up? No, it's not that. That's not the case. You don't have to become a funny person. You just have to first of all allow laughter and recognize it if that happens and give space to it and recognize that was a funny moment and celebrate it and just look for things that make you laugh and things that the real things, just authenticity more than it's not about finding the humor in everything. Humor will come, but the main thing for me is uh, look what the real stuff, like things that you can relate, things that you can connect, right? That make you laugh or moves you somehow. I don't know. Let's say you are a big sport fan, I don't know, right? And you like to go and paint your face and go and celebrate with your friends. Imagine some other creature coming from a different planet looking at this. That would be bizarre, right? Why are you doing this? Why are you painting your face? Why are you gathering all those guys and shouting? But it's a we laugh at things that we where we can relate to, where we can connect, right? So it's about that. I think it's really looking and trying to find what is real, what is authentic in your workplace. And yes, and there are tricks and things, tweaks that I teach that can help with generate humor or laughter. Yeah.
Let's talk about the beginnings of a class. In the beginning of using laughter as a tool,
Yes.
there's awkwardness, there's hesitancy. People struggle to let go or even start because they're self conscious. How do you get through those obstacles? They're not really obstacles, they might be speed bumps, but how do you
No,
get
no,
through?
yes, I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah, I always try with game. I always start with games, and I always, when I can, avoid like presentation or think, or what do you do? What do you do for living? Or what is your position in the company? Because that from the beginning can create barrier or can create like lower self-esteem or higher. You can boost your ego or not, right? If I say, oh, hi, my name is Stefano. I am a neuroscientist. You might think, oh wow, this guy's so smart. Oh my gosh. And then you might think like that you're not as smart or you're not as competent or as good as this person, right? So I always try to like, let's just play, let's just do games that like to remember names and just have them move. Because then what happens? Then you move, then maybe laughter happens, and then all those things happen in your brain, right? You produces endorphin, you're relaxing, you're just having fun. So I always try to start with that and have the people loosen up a little bit, right? And then when they go into it, they're like, oh, they're moving, things are physical. Then we go into more maybe intellectual or more verbal thing. One game that I always play, and I play this when I do my online workshop or when I'm in person, I always play this game, which is tell me something that you like. No, sorry, tell me your name and share with me something that you like. Something that it could be an activity that you like doing, or something that you enjoy, a food or whatever that is, but keep it brief, right? So let's say my name is Stefano and I like sushi. Great. And then I have everybody share. And then now we're gonna add a little something, right? Which is it's always tricky because people are like, oh, and I say, now say the same thing, but like this, with the tongue sticking out of your mouth. So that's a moment that like people laugh because they feel like, oh my god, this is so silly, but it's simple, right? It's not overcomplicated. I'm not asking you to be or so over ridiculous, right, in front of a crowd. No, just if you feel like to and if you're willing to, please just say the same thing with your tongue sticking out of your mouth. That's just simple things to create laughter. And also there is this moment of, because we're all doing it, we're all in this together, it's okay. Oh, they're not laughing at me. I don't feel like silly in front of other folks, which is very interesting. Yeah. The concept, I think that a lot of times also people struggle of, I don't want to look ridiculous in front of the others, because maybe in society we have so much pressure of always being on top of everything. We have to be the best, we have to be the most good looking, I don't know, the best physiques, or I don't know, the sexiest, or whatever that is, always be. And it's so failure or being silly, maybe it's not social accepted, but it's such a liberating feeling, right? It's like, oh, I can be silly for a moment. I can just
Yes.
be whatever. And it's
Yeah.
great. And it's not all the time. And people are not laughing at me. No, we are laughing together. So I try to create an environment where everybody feels safe, and then we're doing this together. It's not, oh, look at Katie, she's so silly. No. Katie's silly as everybody else. We're all being silly just for a moment. Then we can go back and do other things. Yeah. But games, I think it's the best way to go.
Yeah, games and reducing the hierarchy. So in a business
Yes.
situation, not talking about who's the boss and who's the secretary, not talking about that. That's
Yes.
not, it's, I like that it's not an option to have the
Mhm.
hierarchy,
Yes, we are
because
all in
that's,
this. Yes, exactly.
mhm.
We're all in this together. We're all the same. And sometimes I also play game where we switch roles. So if you are the boss, maybe you get to play the employee or the other way around. So we can, and then I like, depends on the level of confidence, and oh, maybe we can imitate each other, right? The way we talk, the way we walk, because there is humor in there. There is funny things that you don't notice. But when if we all, let's say I do this game, we're like, oh, everybody walk, right? And then just follow one person, and we're all gonna imitate the way that maybe James walk, or maybe the way that Katie walks. When you see somebody else doing it, it's so interesting to discover. It's like, oh, I wasn't aware of this. I wasn't aware that when I walk, maybe I raise my shoulder, or maybe I don't know, I do funny things with my legs, or I don't know what it is. But it's opportunity to find humors and simple stuff that we do every day.
And I want to bring up, so I did an improv class at UC Riverside for dance, for non-major dance students, and I got myself in trouble. So I'm curious what you would think about it. Now, I spent 7 years in Europe. I traveled to Morocco. I speak a little Arabic. I speak a little Italian. Everybody's a little everything of everybody's as much as possible. So we're doing this kung fu style improv. which is Asian derivative,
Yeah.
right? So I think, oh, let's mix it up. So it's not just one culture. So then I have us doing gibberish in pasta italiano, right?
Mhm.
And I have us doing gibberish in French. And then I went to Arabic. And I
Mm.
said, to me, Arabic gibberish sounds, and I
Mhm.
upset some of my students.
Mm.
And have you ever been in a situation like that? And what did you do?
That's so funny you mentioned this. I think in a workshop, I'm not sure if I ever happened to me that. Sorry, what was it? I want to ask you, where was this? Where were you teaching?
UC Riverside.
So was in the United States?
Yeah,
in
in
California.
California. Yeah.
I mean, in my experience, I think I'm in the West Coast. I noticed that everything it's there's a lot of people like to make things political, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of that, and then there's a lot of like, awareness of what is politically correct, what is not. But I don't understand the boundaries. As a foreigner and as a clown from Europe, sometimes I get confused when things
Well,
are like, when can I make fun of this,
Yeah.
and when am I not allowed to
and
make fun of it?
yeah, that's what I'm talking
So
about. Cause yeah,
exactly, and to me, it's interesting because it's like, let's say you mentioned Asian culture or Arabic culture. But my experience, and then making fun. What does it mean to make fun? To me, it's like I'm imitating somebody, right? As you might be imitating my accent. I have an accent. English, it is not my first language, right? So I,
right.
I have an accent, right? And maybe, and they're stereotypical Italian. Hey, what's the past? Hey, what is going on here? Hey, well,
Yeah.
blah blah, and gesture, right?
Yep.
So why is it okay for an American or a non-Italian person to do this with my culture, but why is it not okay to, let's say, imitate an Asian person or the way they speak or the way they do? Yeah, maybe it's the martial arts, right? Which is, so that to me that's interesting. Why certain things are allowed, why not? And my own conclusion is that maybe there is still a lot of conflict and that hasn't been dealt with, right? That is, maybe we had issue with the Asian culture, or maybe we have issue with racism here that haven't been addressed. Oh yes, but we are still dealing with it because, I don't know, because we didn't majorly apologize, or
Yeah.
we need to celebrate the fact that something went wrong. Something went wrong in history.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay, and we
you.
got to,
I love
yes, and
that.
we got to address this, okay? And we got to talk
Yeah.
about it. It's going to be
Yep.
uncomfortable.
Let's
Okay?
celebrate that something went wrong.
Yes,
Brilliant.
and it's going to be uncomfortable. Life is, okay? There are moments in life that are uncomfortable, but it's not about. So how do you deal with this? It's really like, to me is basically, how do you deal with your emotion? Okay, if somebody imitates my accent and I feel offended, I got to deal with my own emotion. Why is that offensive to me? Then if I'm going too far, okay, of course it's a different thing. Okay, you're putting me down, you're like humiliating me, you're putting down my culture. That's not okay. But if I imitate an accent, maybe I need to deal with my own emotion before, I don't know, share my feelings about it. I don't know. And I feel like maybe this is just my own interpretation and my own opinion. Maybe some folks here haven't dealt with this, right? Or haven't, they are aware that there was an issue, but oh, okay, let's move on, all right? And now let's talk about the weather. No, it's not that. Okay, we gotta address it. We gotta
Right.
celebrate. I don't know. I was. This is so interesting. You're asking me this. I watched this. I think it was last year. I was at the stand-up show, and there was an African American comedian that shared the fact that like it was Black History Month.
Yeah.
He made me laugh because he said 1 month is February. It's the shortest month of the year. That's what you guys gave us. And then it's, oh, wasn't that amazing? All the things that we did, this concert and the parades, and no, there is nothing. There is very little thing. So it's like, wait, so what is it? So we need to address it. We need to talk about it. Let's celebrate. Let's do concert. Let's do things that we're all together, black, white, yellow, red, green. It doesn't matter. We're all in this together, and we're all aware of this thing, and we all say, sorry, man, that was messed up. Big time. Okay, but now let's move on.
Yeah.
and
Brilliant. Brilliant.
yeah,
Brilliant. Brilliant.
and I think in my experience with that, with what do you do? I have this happened this weekend. Funny enough, you say this. I did a show for. I have a community of friends that live in the countryside here in Oregon. Right, it's a rural community. It's a beautiful community, and they have a community center. And I did my show there. And then I had a conversation with another guy before the show, and we were talking about just very interesting culture and things around and laughter and happiness. And then he was at the show, and then he wrote me an email saying that the show was great, but there were a couple of things that he felt that was like inappropriate, which is interesting. And to me, I feel like no matter what you do, no matter what kind of fields you're into, there is always going to be somebody that's not going to like it. That always, no matter what you
Yeah.
do, right? You can be an engineer, you can be a comedian, you can be a singer. Somebody's always going to criticize you or not agree with you, right? So in my experience, I always try to make friends with the audience. I look for friendly faces. I look for people that are smiling. These are my friends. And because humor and laughter are contagious, that things eventually will spread, right? And what can I say? I'm in that regard. I'm sorry that you felt maybe that was inappropriate for you or you felt offended, but that's again, it's your own emotions. It's the way you perceive that thing because that wasn't my intention. I wasn't intentionally I wanted to make you feel uncomfortable, right? Or I don't know. It's just interesting. But I feel like there's always gonna be somebody that feels like that. And to me, it's acknowledge the fact that that's the main thing. I gotta acknowledge the fact and respect the fact that this person didn't feel good about it, right? So I respect the fact that you send me an email and share your thought. That's the main thing. And thank you
Yeah.
for sharing your feelings because that's important. That's ultimately the main thing. You're able to share your feelings, and that what
Yes.
makes you feel happy
Yes.
or not. That's great. That's great.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can share the feelings, you can work towards helping one another appreciate each other's positions. We can mutually grow from it. If you hold it back or you contain that resentment, that's just going to like
Perpetuate.
kicking a can down the road. It's just going to be a problem later on,
Hmm.
and
Yes.
that's not good for society.
Yes.
Yes. Mhm.
So
And it's interesting. This whole thing is very interesting. Our conversation is very interesting. I love this thing, what we're talking about. I just recently read this thing that children have no filters, right? Especially little kids, right?
yeah,
They will say whatever in your face. They like you, they don't like you, they like your hair, they don't like your hair. They will just say straight away. They don't care. They have no filter. But then later on in life, that thing change, right? We grow up and then we might, double guess that thing. Should I say, should I not say? I'm not saying that we need to be that we should like whatever say whatever all the time, but the point of this thing that I was reading is like this person made the point that it's like maybe our society doesn't allow sharing feelings that much or acknowledging on feelings. We don't talk about it that much. We're not taught in school. Things have changed, are changing, lucky. But I think when I went to school, or even in my society, in my culture, or in my family, if I think about my family, we hardly talk about feelings, or we didn't really share much.
Really? Italian culture isn't I love you. Te
Yeah,
amo,
but no,
bene,
wait.
da, 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 da,
Yes,
da.
that's a very good point, Katie. I think there is a lot of we're very passionate and very another thing. My wife, when she first came to Italy and she sat at a dinner table with my family, she looked at me like, "Why are you guys fighting?" And I was like, "No, we're just talking." Okay.
yeah,
Because
Right.
that's how we do things. Everything's very passionate. We like talk about
yeah,
politics. We raise a voice, hand gesture. But feelings is different. It's or sharing the way that you really feel, or why that things make you feel like this. Why I don't know, recognizing that and acknowledging that. It was a new thing for me. I learned that later in life, how to acknowledge your own feelings and somebody else's feelings, and you're able to share it and you're able to talk about it. And these things made me upset. These things made me sad. Why is that? Why that whatever situation made you feel like that? It's interesting. I don't think we talk a lot of we're teaching now. I guess we things that
yeah,
change are changing also in schools. They're like, okay, we do social skills, like how do we deal with our own emotion, how do we share, how do we talk about it, and now we acknowledge the fact that you're upset. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's address it. It's important. We
yeah,
don't. There's a lot of things. A lot of times, me growing up, I remember. Oh, it's gonna be fine. Oh, you'll be all right. Oh, you're gonna be okay. Oh, don't cry. Oh, it's nothing. No, it is something. I'm
yeah,
crying because something happened that moved me. This is why I'm crying because I'm upset, because I'm sad, because you, I don't know, disrespect me somehow. So I want to talk about it and I want to leave those emotions. And when I'm done, I'm ready to move on. So don't tell me like, oh no, it's nothing. No, it is something. It's important.
Right.
It's important we acknowledge that thing.
Yeah. So we're at that point, Jim Bob. Are you ready to ask your most famous question?
Yes. All right. So here's the question. On any given Thursday, what should I remember about what Stefano Iaboni teaches, and how can I apply that to the problems that I'm dealing with that day?
That's a very good question, Jim. I would say what I was sharing earlier, look for what's real. Look for authenticity. Look for the things that moves you. Look for the things that you like. And then if you want to go deeper, then you can say, why do I feel like that? Why do I have these feelings towards this emotion or these things like or things that let's say that you can't stand or things that makes you really happy. So are there are those things that you cannot stand unique for you or these things that can you share with other things? I can't stand, let's say something personal, right? When like the toilet paper roll in my house, if somebody put it the other way around, oh my gosh, I can't stand it, that drives me crazy, why are you doing that? But that's unique to me. Like other people that have share these same feelings, right?
Yes.
And why do I feel like that? Maybe if I share this with my family or with others, they might feel, Stefan, this is ridiculous. It's just a toilet paper roll. Just flip it, man. It's okay. But that's something unique to me. But that's what's real because it's what is real to me. Or same way, I'm super excited about maybe some other things that other things or somebody else in my family, my wife might think this is nothing, man. Lately, I've been working like studying magic, and I just share something like, oh, I met this guy, he's a good friend, and he's gonna teach me some new stuff. I'm so excited. I got a mentor, and for her, she's not into this. It's nothing. It's whatever. Okay, I'm glad you're having coffee with Brandon, but whatever. But for me, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. So I was like, I look for something that is over exciting for me. And then if I am in a social environment, I think the easiest way to do is start with the smile or with the laughter. That's the easiest thing I can do because we know that neurologically all those things happen, right? So like when you laugh, you activate those mirror neurons in your brain, right? So you imitate facial expression. If I approach a gym with a big smile, right, you might either think Stefan is crazy or you might smile back because you're gonna imitate my facial expression, and that has that ripple effect or that's contagious, right? I always encourage people to do this on the street, to smile at other people, or like you said, Katie, I love that the other thing that is great, it's the random act of kindness, or just can you thank somebody else for whatever they do? A bus driver, how many times people get on the bus and say something with a smile, thank you so much for riding this bus, I really appreciate it. How many times that person hears that has a major impact on that person receiving that compliment. A street sweeper, how many people, or the garbage collector, how many people tell this person he does an amazing service for society? If we didn't have that, our street would be full of garbage. But how many times do people approach those people and say, thank you so much for cleaning the street, this is amazing, thanks because of the service that you're doing? So something like that. But I would say
Yes.
smile. Smile is a good way to do it because a lot of things happen in your brain that you're not even aware of it, and that's gonna change your mood during the day.
Right. So for those within the sound of our voices right now, if they wanted to reach out to you to inquire about how they might have some experiential facilitation done for them, what's the best
Yeah.
way to get in contact with you?
Oh, they can reach me on LinkedIn. They can look for my name, which I know is not easy to pronounce, Stefano Iaboni, or they can just go on my website, which is my name, www.stefanoiaboni.com. And there they can find information about my training, my team buildings, and my workshop, my presentation, and such. Yeah.
And they can contact you through your website or through LinkedIn. And
Yes.
we will have links in the show notes to both of these websites for
That's
you.
great. Thank you.
And do you have any projects or performances coming up that you're particularly excited about that you'd like people to know?
I do, and thank you for asking. I am doing a variety show in Portland in June where I'm gonna be doing some silly stuff, but I have a project that I'm very excited about that we are launching probably in the fall. It's gonna call the Laugh Camp, and this
Oh,
is mainly for businesses or business folks. So it's a camp in nature where people can experience the benefit of laughter, and how laughter can help with all those in business, especially with bonding, with problem solving, with creativity, and overall the well-being. So laugh camp, yeah, probably starting in the fall. We don't
Oh,
have the
sounds
exact date yet, but
amazing.
mm.
Yeah,
mhm.
love it. And that'll be in, you think that'll be in Oregon?
Right now, we're looking at Oregon, possibly expanding that to other places in the US. And it's something that it could be done anywhere as long as
Yeah.
I like the idea of nature, the being out in nature here in Oregon is beautiful. It rains a lot, but
Yeah, but you
it's,
get to do the nature bathing, forest bathing in the middle of doing your laughter work, which is also interesting and amazing.
yeah. And I want to work in nature, not just because I enjoy, but also because they say that there are studies around the benefit of being in nature, of like how that helps with happiness
Are
more
you
than,
ready for my theory? I
yes,
just did
please.
this. I just taught this in my class. Okay, so according to the Native Americans, all our relations include the plants, the animals, the rocks, the soil, and the water.
Mhm.
Everything I just said is 70% water, more or less, right?
Mm, yes.
Water with the Ho'oponopono prayer, which is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you.
Hmm.
I love you and thank you are the most powerful crystal creators in messages in water. And if we just have a mantra, thank you, I love you, we are not only connecting to the mycelial network, but all of the network that is life on Earth and shifting the water and then giving it back to ourselves, where heart brain coherence comes from happiness and creates happiness. By doing all of those things, we've now synchronized our brains and our hearts. We've created happiness just by saying a couple of phrases and sending that out as far as we can.
Wow, that is really cool. And yeah, I read about that, and I read about yeah, and the study that read was about when you experience something that is bigger than you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Such as the nature, but also you need to be aware of it, and you need to be present, connected, right? And it doesn't
Yeah.
mean I need to spend a whole week by my. No, no, no. Just can
No,
you go for a walk and just look
yeah,
around? Just pay attention to simple stuff: a tree, a bird, grass, whatever that is. Just pay attention to that thing. And when you witness something that is so
Yeah.
magnificent and way bigger than you, that helps with happiness.
Yeah.
yes,
Alan Klein talks about the power of awe.
yes,
Exactly. Oh, that's what it is.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep,
He had an excellent talk on that. Excellent book on that. That's another.
yeah, yeah. Stefano, wow. Not only what an amazing conversation, but to know that you and I stood in the same places and I had a statue on the Ramblas that was a dead lady under a meteorite yelling for help in 14 languages for 2.5 years to pay for my Rogelio Rivel experience.
Oh, that's
So,
great.
and then I did a lot of street shows too. But I just want to say how fun to be able to
I
sit here in this Zoom room with you and know the same people, have been in the same places, and just had that same experiences. And I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for sharing. That's really cool. That's amazing.
Yeah. And your work sounds amazing too. I want to also acknowledge that it's interesting coming from similar backgrounds that we've ended up in parallel places.
Yeah.
There are differences, of course, because we're different people, but I find coming from the street performing and the theater and the circus and the to this place to help to help I don't know, in my goofy woo woo way, to help bring us to the next place that could be
Yeah.
more kindness, more happiness, more smiles, more love, less.
Yeah, and in that regard, Katie, I feel like I I'm in this place now because of that past that I have, of that background that I have. And I feel like I can easily, because of being on stage for the 20 years, I know how to read my crowd. I know how to be in front of other people, and I can easily understand the things they do enjoy and the things that like they struggle with. I can tell. And that's also related with like maybe the physical comedy, or just because if a good, in my opinion, a good comedian, a good somebody that is good at making people laugh is because he's able to create that connection, and he understands where things are working and things are not working.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I struggle with other performers that are very egocentric, and they always like if things do not go well, they blame it on the crowd. When I don't believe that, I think
Mm-mm.
it's always the other way around. You, as a performer, as a human being, as a facilitator, you need to adapt to your crowd. You need to
Agreed.
understand what is working and what is not. Certainly, certain things that I do might work for a corporate crowd, and the same thing might not work for a different crowd. So I
That's
need
right.
to adapt. I can't just show up at the corporate in front of a corporate ground and do my physical comedy things. No, people won't get it. People will think, "What is this? This is silly." No, but that background, I need. Can I change that for a different crowd that it does different things in life, that has different interests, and perceives society in a different way?
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. Thank you
Good.
again.
Good.
Right.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you both. All
Bye.
right. Take care.
This has been Laughbox, the official podcast of the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor. I'm Jim Bob Williams,
And I'm Katie B.
and our special guest today has been Stefano Iaboni. Stefano, thank you so much for being with us. And, well, just look forward to hearing more about what you're doing with experiential facilitation.
Thank you for joining us for episode 127 with Jim Bob Williams, Katie B, and Stefano Iaboni. Thank you very much.
Laughbox is a production of the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor. Visit us online at www.aath.org. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Music by Gary Rubio. For more information, www.garyrubiomusic.com.